Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yo.
Hi, everybody.
What's up?
How's the friendos? How are the friendos doing today?
It's weird. We
Tired and maybe sick.
I'm
we
also-
saw
I'm
each
also
other
tired.
yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Andrew and I left Ben's house around 2 in the morning if I remember correctly. So.
Dang, man.
I was asleep for a fair amount of that, though.
Yeah.
That last hour you fell asleep on the food.
Yeah. Classic Andrew move,
Jeez.
falling asleep while
Got-
people are talking.
Well,
Dear
I'm glad
Lord.
you find our voices soothing.
Yeah, that's the reason. Not that it was 1 in the morning.
Yeah, also, my internet was
Anyway.
like dying over and over again while we were trying to like show each other stuff.
Yeah, I missed that.
Mhm.
I missed that part.
I missed that.
Well, friendos. With that, we're back on the usually disappointed train. Let's go, BB. Glad that we're all here today. What in the hell have thou been playing this past 2 weeks? I want Elias. What have you been playing this
I
past week?
had a feeling. So we have the new phone gang Rise Up. I've been playing the stupid Toho Lost Word thing. It's still great.
Based.
I love it. I almost have a fully maxed level character. Dude, that I think when I did one of the event missions that I was supposed to do, she dealt like 999,999 to damage to the full 3 people on the other side. So I was like, hey, this feels pretty sick. Number high. I think I hit the limit. It doesn't go any higher than that number. So that's
Numbers
great.
increase, dopamine release.
Hey.
There you go.
It all comes back. It all comes back.
And then besides that, we have the usual Rocket League. I think I played once just with a few friends. Oh my goodness, my voice is not working. And then I'm drifting as usual with the Settle Corsa. The only thing that was different, jumping back into some more Nier Replicant, because we were, getting ready for our Nier episode. So I was like, hey, well, I'll play Replicant because I've already played Automata. But Replicant's good. I got to a section, I think I was telling Ben last night, where I got to like a mission that dealt with like basically Inception dream state kind of stuff, and it turned from cool JRPG to text adventure, not even visual novel, just novel, because the screen was black. And I was reading in Japanese for like an hour and a half, so it was great.
Yeah, I was talking to you while
Mhm,
you were
that
going through
happened.
that. Yeah, because I was playing Automata and I was streaming it to you, and you were just going on about that. It's like, man, this is taking forever. Like, just freaking sounds like it, dude.
Like, I mean, it was cool, but my brain, it was late too, so my brain was
Yeah,
not
it was.
functioning with Japanese with that very well.
Gosh.
But it was cool. It was nice, and I finished that. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna be done with the Nier for tonight. But yeah, I'm hoping to finish that before the next episode, and also play through Automata again,
Based.
because there's a bunch of mods for Automata apparently that make
Oh.
it like much better. No, like graphically better, and gameplay wise a lot better as well, just to look at and stuff. So, well, we'll see if I can get those working. But yeah.
You're getting the Skyrim experience
all.
with Nier, where you like play it a whole bunch and then you go back and then you then you just mod the crap out of it and play it
Yeah,
again.
see, that's what I'm scared of, because with Skyrim, I modded that thing so much that like I can't go black. I can't go back
Whoa.
and play normal Skyrim anymore, because it's just painful. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't do that to Nier. I just want to try it with like the. I think the Nexus community called it the definitive Nier experience. Just because it basically fixes all the issues the game has, texture and graphic wise, and then just makes things look a little bit nicer overall. And then fixes a few other small bugs that kind of happen with visual effects, and that's all it really does. It just fixes those things. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's my stuff for the week.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
go.
Let's go for Ben next.
Okay, I actually have more stuff to talk about this week, because last week I think I only talked about like one game only. But yeah, so I obviously did play a little more Nier. And then also I got into Bloodborne, because I saw the Elden Ring trailer and then I was just like, man, FromSoft is awesome. And then I'm like in the middle of Dark Souls 2, but I didn't really feel like going back in there because, Dark Souls 2. So I hadn't played Bloodborne yet. Everyone's like, oh, Bloodborne's awesome. Bloodborne's great. And then so I was like, okay, sure. So I booted it up, got into it, and yeah, I mean, I agree with everyone. It's a fantastic game, and I already got one ending, and I'm working on getting the true ending, and then also doing the DLC. So yeah, overall, I feel like I'm enjoying the combat more than Souls, and the lore is really interesting. I love the Lovecraftian direction it goes in, and like in terms of like my favorite like Soulsborne game, I still love Dark Souls 3, but I don't, because I'm just a sucker for like epic stuff. But Bloodborne is just so fascinating. Like they do a really good job with the Bloodborne, or not the Lovecraftian like aesthetic and stuff. I love the Victorian setting. But yeah, so far it's been great. And then I also so I listened to a lot of just instrumental music, and one of them that I've been like obsessed with recently is this band called Message to Bears. They're like the most hipster thing ever. It's just a group of like people who just do acoustic guitar and other stuff, and they sing about like sad boy stuff, kind of. And then
that's the most you game I could hear about ever.
Yeah, and so I noticed that one of their songs, that one that I was like actually trying to learn on the guitar, was included in Life is Strange. And so I was like, you know what? I've also heard really good things about Life is Strange, so I'm gonna give it a shot. And I saw that the first entire episode was free to play.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll give it a shot. And I am hooked. I do enjoy the story so far, and I want to see what happens. So I bought the rest of the episodes, and I will be playing through them. Yeah. So Bloodborne, Life is Strange, Nier. What else did I play? I played What Remains of Edith Finch again with a friend, because I wanted her to, because I was pretty sure she would like the story. So
I think it's the first time a podcast recommendation has been replayed.
Ooh,
and discussed.
I think you're right.
I think so. Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm happy that it was my game. No.
Yeah.
I get it. That's great though.
Yeah, and she thought it was fantastic.
How'd
so
she like it?
Yeah. I mean, she didn't really.
Good story.
She doesn't really play games, so she didn't really care much for the gameplay. So eventually, I just took over because she's not used to like 3D environments and stuff. So she was like getting stuck everywhere, and it was kind of breaking the immersion for her. And so I just played it for her. She watched it like a movie, and she really enjoyed it. So
honestly, that's a great way to experience that game because it's so short.
Yeah.
Finish it in like hour and a half, 2 hours maximum. That's cool. Awesome to hear. I'm glad to hear more people are be getting into that story because that's a great narrative.
Yeah, did you like pick up on anything that you didn't the first time? Was there anything different?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Let me think.
Or did because it was Chelsea you played it with, right? Did she pick up anything that you maybe didn't see?
No. I mean, not that she told me. I don't think she pointed out too much like specifically. She just thought it was really cool.
Okay.
But I don't think I actually picked up on anything because. Well, actually, no, I did notice like some small details that I realized after the fact, and I saw them happening before, I guess before like they were revealed or whatever. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so I saw the foreshadowing, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Is there like an example you can give?
I played it like 2 weeks ago, so I'm actually not quite sure.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot.
You be putting him on the I was just saying you be putting him on the spot.
I'm just so I just really want to hear more. Sorry.
He's like, I really don't want to talk next.
Yeah, I don't really have anything specific about it, but like I do still enjoy it. It's a very good game. It's a wonderful story. And yeah, Chelsea's favorite section was oh my gosh, I forgot his name. But it's the cannery. Lewis's story.
Luis.
Yeah.
Eewees.
Because yeah.
Anytime I hear Lewis, I think of how Leon Kennedy intentionally mispronounces Luis's name in Resident Evil 4. Does that happen to you, Andrew?
Maybe. It's been a long time.
Luis is my uncle's
Maybe.
name.
Lewis!
Funny enough, when I started playing Resident Evil 3, the character Carlos, I actually was like, I wonder if that's the same character. So like, I totally forgot that the other character's name was Lewis.
Dude, Carlos is up there with Geralt and like most like attractive male video game characters for me.
Yeah. Ooh, I love how his hair looks like a bird nest.
I know, I
So
love it,
sexy.
right? I love it.
The sexy video game
Shut up,
character.
man. Dude, Carlos is hot. Shut up.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and Joel.
I'm gonna, I guess, talk
Joel's
about
best
a
dad.
couple of games real quick and then pass it on to somebody else so I don't talk for too long. But I guess one of the most notable things, and I guess the shortest thing I can kind of talk about over the past couple of weeks, is that I have been back on to playing Halo with my friend Cody. We usually take like Sunday and Monday nights. We've been playing through the Halo campaigns. Up to 3 canonically, at least. Maybe 4 if we're feeling like it. We're burned on 343 Halo. I really don't like Halo 4's story that much, but anyway, we played through. We're going in chronological order, so I played Halo 2, and then we played Halo 3 ODST, which takes place at the same time as 2 and just before 3. We played through both of those. They're both short games.
Every time I hear Halo 3 ODST, I just imagine like the whole Electric Boogaloo joke. Halo 3 ODST, Halo, it has like the same kind of like ring as like
I know
number 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, no, I love Bungie Halo, and even when in Halo 3 ODST, I think it's kind of one of the weaker Halo games from 343. In fact, not 343, sorry, Bungie, probably the weakest Bungie Halo. But even then, still so good. Still so good. Even when like they weren't at their A game, they're still making good shit. And I love Halo 3 ODST. That's a dang good game. But Halo 2 will forever be my favorite. Playing through Halo 2 again was so much fun because I've played that game probably 20 times probably. I kid you not. This might be my most played campaign of a game ever. And playing through that again with a friend, and he's just watching me as I'm doing all the speedrun strats I know, and just knowing where all the secret weapons are, picking those up, and exactly where to like kill these enemies. It's like he's just following behind me as I'm like this well-oiled killing machine. Just like how I play Postal 2, it's like how I can play Halo 2 now. And so it was just fun going through and just burning all of that down, and my friend's following me behind. He's like, holy shit, dude. And you're like, you're going crazy. I'm like, dude, this is like my 27th playthrough of Halo 2. What do you expect? But it's great. Anyway, that's it for Halo stuff for me. I'm gonna pass the baton over to Ben. Do you have anything else to talk about for this past little bit?
I think I'm trying because I had the PS4. I used the PS4 these past 2 weeks. I think the only thing I played there was still just Bloodborne. I for some reason I thought that they added the 60 FPS patch for Ratchet & Clank 2016 on the PS4, but apparently they didn't.
No.
And so I opened it up, I checked it out, and I was like, okay, this is still just annoying.
your 30 FPS motion blur garbage.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself is still really fun, as garbage as the story is, and as, you know, annoying as the non-editable frame rate and motion blur is. But man, it's I don't think I'm gonna like replay it anytime soon.
I don't blame you. I'm gonna put a better effort into it some point soon. When that will be, I don't know.
To 2016 or the other Ratchet and Clanks?
2016. I do need to get through the other ones too at some point, but I feel like I'm probably gonna play Rift Apart before any other ones within the next little bit, so I'm thinking I might just want to play through the remake, or at least play as much of it as I can, and then jump into Rift Apart.
I would say that the remake does not have any connection to Rift Apart, though.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I just want to see how the, you know, Insomniac's, you know, style with Ratchet and Clank shifted from 2016 to 2021. Just kind of see. It's just a curiosity thing for me. Honestly.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise and whatever. I like to overthink these things, so I like seeing it. So that's.
Yeah,
Let me play how I want to play.
Yeah, gameplay wise, it's like 2016 is not bad at all. It's still really fun. It's just the story's really annoying.
You know, speaking of Rift Apart, I did something weird. For whatever reason, I got on YouTube, I got a recommendation to like just watch some gameplay, and that turned into just 6 hours of me watching.
Oh my gosh!
Ratchet and Clank gameplay, which is weird. I've talked extensively about my opinions on the first couple games that I've played. It's I can't say that I don't like them. I really like the characters, but I just I don't know, the gameplay just hasn't really struck me very well. But the gameplay for Rift Apart, I won't spoil it for Ben, but it definitely seems more up my alley. I'd be very curious to play it. And actually I ended up watching all the cutscenes like a movie. It's like an hour and a half of cutscenes, and it's animated like a Pixar movie. So it was kind of just watching a movie. It was pretty neat. Yeah, and the story was cute. It's very much a video game story, and to be honest, Ben, I wouldn't be surprised if you were somewhat disappointed with the story. But it's I can't speak for you. I'd be curious to see what you think. But based on what you've told me on the Ratchet and Clank 2016 game and what you don't like about it, I do think that some of that tone has carried over to Rift Apart, even though it's technically not connected. I guess.
I mean, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Insomniac has been on a tonal shift in their narratives for the longest time now. Their Attitude era has long since been gone. Ratchet and Clank was kind of the last bastion of that until they cutesied it up and whatever, and ooh, whoa, look at the cute wombats, blah blah blah. Not much, any of the interesting story-wise, kind of babying it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, I did enjoy a lot of the PS3 stuff, even though it was also tonally very different from the PS2 games, because, I mean, PS2 games were haha, edgy, and then the PS3 games were just space opera and dramatic story, and I did enjoy that. Crack in Time was really good. But yeah, 2016 was just especially just how they switched Ratchet's attitude up so much. Even just from the PS3, because in the PS3 versions he's still a little bit cynical, but at the same time he's also more of in the hero mindset, because he's learned and grown. Learned not to be selfish and stuff like that, but at least he's not the Boy Scout that he was in 2016.
Didn't he do that in the first game?
Yeah, he did. I mean, he does that throughout. It's a consistent journey, because even in 2, he's still a little cynical, but I mean he takes his position seriously.
He just learns the same lesson over and over and over again.
Not exactly.
Very narratively dry.
Not exactly.
For Rift Apart,
I'm very disinterested in continuing to go through this series then.
Yeah. For Rift Apart, his thing is at the very beginning of the game that it's been such a long time. I wonder if people think that we're washed up. Like that's his line, and
Which is interesting,
I can't really
'cause
even
that's-
say that. Yeah.
Because that's kind of
Is
like
that
how
the plot of 2?
yeah, that's how 2 starts.
Oh boy.
Wow. Well, okay. Well, that's
hey,
bullshit.
There's a lot
I
of
ain't gonna be playing this shit.
there's a lot of new characters that are interesting though in Rift Apart.
Okay.
Like the new character Rivet, I like her a lot. She's very cute.
Oh yeah. How is she though? I'm kind of well. I
mean-
can't spoil anything for Ben, but you like her as a character though.
Yeah, I thought she was great.
Okay. Yeah, she's.
I
kinda
like the
has
voice
been
acting on
interesting
it. The character design is great.
Yeah.
And she does have the story is more focused on her, frankly, in this based on the cutscenes, which
Okay.
makes sense since she's the new character. So, if as long as you kind of grow attached to her, I assume that you'll like the story fine. You might dislike like Ratchet kind of takes a backseat or whatever, but I found I watched the whole thing, so like I must have found it engaging.
Hey, that's
and
that's something.
And I'm curious to
That's
see
nothing.
like where they would take a future game. I assume that they're going to try and do another co-op Ratchet and Clank game in the future. Ben told me that there's been a few of them, but he's never actually played one.
Hey, I have All for One. I think physical copy on the PS3. You know, if you want to play that sometime.
Yeah, let's do it.
I have 3 PS3 controllers.
Ooh. Because of the title All for One, I'm guessing it's 4-player.
Yeah, I think it is.
That'd be
You
just
can go
false
up
marketing.
to 4. Well, yeah, the number 4 is on the box, so.
So better have 4
All
players.
4 1.
Mm-hmm.
Only 3 players. Wow, what a jip. Andrew,
Yeah.
what else you been playing?
I-
If anything, I can jump on something real quick if you want.
Oh no, I got one other game. It's funny because I watched the Ratchet and Clank cutscenes for so long. I felt kind of guilty about playing more games. I was like, I've already watched games. I'm not gonna play games. Such a lazy bum. So I just worked on other stuff right during that day. So I've only played one other game, and that is just a little bit of this game. I played the first Resident Evil, the remake.
Oh, nice.
Just a little bit. Funny, weirdly enough, I had some power outages at my house on that day. I had 2 power outages. The first one I was just working on something, and then the lights turned off for 15 minutes, so that was fun. But the second one was worse because I was playing Resident Evil, and I was starting to get into it, and then the power goes off.
Oh
and-
no, you lost your data.
Yeah, and I lost my data, so I was
No.
no.
The worst case scenario. The worst freaking case scenario. Damn, dude.
It's fine. I
I'm
was
sorry.
barely not.
That sucks.
I was not that far into it at all.
Okay, but still, that sucks.
Geez, this game. It's going to be such a different experience from the other Resident Evil games. The tank controls and how the map system works, and every time you exit a door or open a door, it plays a little animation. There's a finite amount of saves that you can have. You have to have this item called the ink ribbon, and right now I have 5 of them, so I can save 5 times, and if I use all of them, I can't save anymore. It's that kind of game. So yeah, I've talked before about how soft locking in games is usually a pretty big turnoff for me, and I have when you have to reload a save. And that might seem counterintuitive for me to say because I really enjoyed the other Resident Evil games, and Resident Evil is kind of notorious for having the ability to be soft locked because it only gives you a finite amount of ammunition. But I don't know, I've played 3 of them and I've never come close to actually being soft locked. There's definitely points where I'm running low on ammo and I need to be sparing, and I enjoy that. But I've never actually been soft locked. So I think it's interesting, being soft locked is something I really dislike, but the prospect of almost being soft locked, but it never actually happening is kind of tantalizing to me, I guess, which is fascinating.
I'll definitely say real quick, if you're playing the original Resident Evil, the remake, of course, but if you're playing that on like normal difficulty or like easier, just normal or easy, then honestly, I wouldn't really worry about being soft lock. It's gonna be a little harder for you to do that, but if you decided to just like jump onto hard, then you asked for it. I'm just gonna say that.
I didn't do that. I'm like horrified of this game. Like the prospect of playing like an old tanky game is like scary to me. So I put it on easy initially. I don't know if I'll keep it there, but because the zombies were dying really quickly.
For a first playthrough, it's definitely not a bad idea, especially if you want to do a lot of exploring and not be heavily punished for it. And then, that's what I did. I played on easy first, and then I went on to harder difficulties, and I found that to be really fun and a great way to play. That's just me, though. Of course, you do what you want, but I'd recommend an easy run.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. I have to get back to where I was. I was also like just getting lost like immediately to it. It seems like it's gonna be a pretty hard game to figure out, but I'm up to it, at least initially. There might be a point where I'm just like, I just want to play this game, so I just like look up a walkthrough or something. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, just like playing a game with a walkthrough just for fun, but yeah, I've done that a few times with like Zelda games where I'm just like, I'm just gonna look up where all the hard pieces are, whatever, and I actually have fun doing that. I don't do that with every game, but like just occasionally, just like if I want to like just relax and play a game that's a bit longer or something like that. It can be fun.
That's what I've been doing with Bloodborne. Is like when I want to, especially when I forget like where to go and stuff. I'm just like, okay, what do I need to do?
Yeah, there's no shame in that. I'll never shame someone for for using a guide. There's no problem.
Yeah,
with
especially in a game where stuff is not exactly straightforward.
Yeah, so. I assume that Bloodborne's even more obtuse than Resident Evil. So yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
could
know,
be wrong
but
about that.
As someone who's played both, Resident Evil is more obtuse than Bloodborne.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
But not by much.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, you had another game, Ethan?
Oh, yeah, I had a couple more to kind of spout off. I've still been chipping away at Pokemon Soul Silver. Haven't made much progress in it recently, but still working on it. I will just make it clear for the record on the podcast that, yes, at this point, I have finished Nier Automata. I'm not going to say anything else, but I'm just going to make it clear right now, a couple weeks before we get going on that. I finished. I'm going to be playing it more before we get up to that point, more than likely. But, yeah, anyway, just going to say that. Otherwise, I only have 2 other games that I've really been working on, one of which I've finished at this point. That is Quake 2. I'm a fan of them boomer shooters, and I was like, oh yeah, it's time. Let's get on to Quake 2. I haven't played it yet. I got the Yamagi source port running, which was super easy to install. Got the game running, perfectly great with the soundtrack and everything in a matter of like 2 minutes, which was excellent. And I finished it. Quake 2, I'm not as big of a fan of it as I am like Quake 1. I know nobody cares, but I'm just gonna say, like, as a big fan of id Software, as a big fan of first-person shooters, I love going through the history of this genre. It's one I love exploring, and Quake 2 was made at a point when kind of one of the head creative forces, like, behind, like, the aesthetics, the guy who really, like, made Doom in terms of like its visual style and everything, original Doom, that like sick like sci-fi with demon shit and whatever, freaking awesome. He was jettisoned from the company. He was gone. John Romero, he's out. And then John Carmack, who was a guy who was more on the graphics engines and everything, he was basically put in charge of Quake 2, and Quake 2 is just a tech demo pretty much. It wasn't even developed as a Quake game, so they slapped Quake 2 on it just because they're like, well, we need a name for this. It needs to sell something. Just call it Quake. And it shows. It's very slapdash kind of feeling game in a lot of places, but it functions, and the gameplay still feels great. I mean, it's a classic id Software game. It feels amazing to play still. But the levels and the enemies are just not as interesting to me, though there are some really cool levels in Quake 2. Will not deny that. And I even played a little bit of the multiplayer and got my ass just handed to me. So, yeah, that's Quake.
That's always
I would
fun.
definitely recommend it if you ever get into if you ever get into boomer shooters or anything. Quake is definitely a series worth checking out. I'm not necessarily done with Quake 2 just yet. There's 2 expansions that I need to play, and I will get to them at some point and will update when I'm there. But the very last game that I've been playing this past little bit is the Family Guy game for the PlayStation 3. Back to the multiverse. Ethan, why are you putting yourself through this? I don't know. It's short, and it's developed by the guys who made Battle for Bikini Bottom initially. So I'm
Oh, interesting.
curiosity got the better of me on this. And Ben, you'll find this interesting. Yes, I know it's Family Guy, and on that level, it's just pure cringe. The writing is just horrendous, and very much... the humor is not what I find anywhere near close to funny. More offensive for offensive sake, without really anything witty or interesting to really say on top of it all. Haha, look, that guy's in a wheelchair. Okay, cool. What's funny about that? Haha, that person's a lady. Okay, cool. And what? Like, whatever. Anyway, the thing that you'd find interesting about this, Ben, is that gameplay-wise and structure-wise, it kind of feels a little bit like Ratchet and Clank.
Which, yeah, I remember you saying that in the chat
keep coming back to
when you started playing it, and I was like, really, Family Guy?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So out of any of like those licensed game genres that are out there, a Ratchet and Clank clone is one I would have least expected. But it's interesting. It's still very mediocre gameplay wise. Weapons, most of them feel kind of to use. Power-ups are just really generic and boring, and sometimes even just completely useless. But, you know, it is that kind of like wide field of view, third-person run-and-gun action semi-platformer. It's not nearly as vertical and obviously nowhere near as interesting in terms of level design and so forth as pretty much any Ratchet and Clank game, I would presume. Maybe even Secret Agent Clank, if we're to be generous. But yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not paying attention to the story much at all. I've just been watching YouTube videos or listening to podcasts while I'm playing the game. I have games like that. My podcast games has become one of them because, God, if I want to pay attention to that story anymore, I would, I'd jump out a window head first. 80 stories up in the air. I hate this. It's awful. I hate Family Guy this much. It's terrible, but hey, that gameplay ain't too bad, and it's pretty funny to have it sit on my shelf, and especially considering the fact it's apparently getting kind of expensive for the PlayStation 3 for some stupid reason. So I'm glad I got it when I did, so I can suffer and be like, cool. Anyway,
suffer and be like, cool.
That's
suffering is cool.
Be like, cool. Suffering is cool, dude. Are you cool if you're not living in, a constant state of just absolute panic and
pain and misery,
terror?
If one would say.
Constant state.
Oh yeah.
And misery.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes that. Games we've been playing. I presume no one else had anything else. We done? We good?
Good.
think so. Yeah.
We good? Cool. Sick, dudes. Then we had a subject that we were going to talk about this week, so it's kind of more of an off-topic sort of thing. We don't have a game to talk about. We gave 4 weeks for Nier Automata, so that'll be the next episode. That one will be interesting. But for now, we kind of decided on a hot takes, overrated games, things that we don't like about games sort of thing, right?
Some of mine are going to be
Yeah.
more along the lines of things I find amusing that like keep popping up in games, but like I still don't really care much too much about. Yeah, cliches.
I don't know how many times I can be like, haha, funny red barrels, and then, I don't know, just kind of get tired of it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
The
not
whole
one
thing
of
has
them.
to be that. No, I love red barrels. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, like, discourse around red barrels and everything. Like,
Discourse.
people... I know, it sounds really corny to say, but, like, I'm talking like, when people talk about, like, game cliches and everything, it's most of the time just so freaking boring. Like, what, dude, this game's got red barrels in it. That's pretty generic, man. Like, who gives a shit?
It's a
I
video
don't
game.
care. If it works, it works. It's a video game. If it works, it works. I don't care. Anyway, cool that we talked about red barrels for like 45 seconds there.
Yeah,
What a-
that's my first hot
God,
take.
wow.
Is that I really,
Wow.
I don't mind the red barrels.
Yeah, I don't either. Red barrels are pretty based, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, why can't they make some blue? You know?
Hey, there are blue barrels in a lot of games. Sometimes they're electricity.
That is true.
They'll like
yeah.
chain lightning around to enemies.
Those are awesome. I love things that you can shoot at that just spark lightning bolts. Awesome.
Shit is cool. Not very many games do that, but when they do, it's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty epic.
Uh,
I do like electricity
and-
attacks.
Yeah.
electricity attacks are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something. I've been wanting to get this off my chest for a long time in audio format, because I think these games are extraordinarily overrated. Be honest with you, I think both the original BioShock and Batman Arkham City are 2 of the most overrated video games of all time. They are painfully generic, the both of them, and I have played through them both multiple times to be won over, and I think they are both just very drab and bland, and have other games in the exact same series that vastly outclass them. I think BioShock 2 is the best BioShock game, and then the best Shock game overall is System Shock 2.
I mean, I can't really argue with you, but my question is that you said that they both feel like very like painfully generic. Would you say that that was the case when they also first came out, or do they just feel generic now because there's been a lot of replicators that may have done it better?
I think a little bit at the time as well. Certainly a lot of this does come in retrospect, but I played these games even when they were back relatively new, and even then I was like, what's the big deal? Like,
Okay.
who cares? Like, cool, video game story was like, ooh, wow, politics, like, cool, we've done this before. It's not, like, here's the thing, like, that's cool, I love politics in games and everything, but people were treating it as if it was, this, beacon moment that like, oh wow, I can't believe it's hasn't been done like this before. Like, yeah, no, stuff like this has been done before and it's been done better. You ever seen Heart of Darkness? No. Ever read Heart of Darkness? You ever I don't know, shit like that. It's kind of funny.
My heart is
And then I
darkness.
think Arkham City at the time, I think I can give BioShock a little more leeway, I guess, for the time. It was a little more impactful and everything, but the thing is, again, this stuff was already done in, like, System Shock 2 and done better. Loads better. So even for the time, the original BioShock was a bit kind of But Arkham City especially, in that it was, kind of at the peak of open world bullshit when it came out. And just, like, that game is just so needlessly padded it is full of artificial game lengtheners. That's all it is AGL the game. It is just slogging through a lot of the same repetitive missions over and over again, and then the side content is so boring. There's like things drag on, the world is uninteresting. I just try to rush through that story as fast as I can if I ever replay it now. But the thing is, there's great stuff in Arkham City. There's awesome stuff in Arkham City. Awesome stuff. But you know, the mediocre far outweighs the good. I'm not going to say it's a bad game. I think, you know, both BioShock and Arkham City are both, you know, decent games. They're made well, they're polished, they function. You can get to the end and they're, you know, they're not absolutely awful by any stretch of the word, but yeah, they're just so generic and boring. And I can think of many other games in either of their genres that do what they do immensely better. I can think of many different, like, even Batman graphic novels and films to watch rather than just play Arkham City. It's like, you want that pretty, like, decent story, but condensed and not bloated. You know, check out these graphic novels and everything instead. Like, it's gonna respect your time more than this. But I'm very much in the minority on that. Curious how other people feel. Have you guys, how many of you guys played like BioShock or Arkham City?
I have not played Arkham City, but I have played BioShock, and I think this is where this is one of the crossroads of our opinions, because I remember really enjoying BioShock. I mean, to be fair, I haven't played like as many like different games, I guess, and so like my experience is not as, like, I guess, broad. So it seemed really, it was really interesting to me, and I especially really liked the gameplay, because that was like, I mean, because it is more or less, you know, baby's first immersive sim, and it was my technically first immersive sim. I mean, granted, that is, I guess, according to a lot of people who are like really into immersive sims, a loose version of an immersive sim, but I did enjoy it. I thought the magic effects, I forgot what you called them. The
plasmids.
Plasmids, yeah, the plasmids are really cool to use, in addition to like the shooting mechanics and stuff. I loved the design of the world. Just like that 1920s era, like underwater city is just like super dope. And enemies.
There's good stuff about BioShock, yeah.
Yeah, and so I really enjoyed it. And then, you know, BioShock 2 is awesome as well. I actually did not play the DLC for 2, and I hear that the DLC is really fun.
Oh, so you need to play Minerva's Den. That's good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
So I need to play that. And then I have played Infinite as well, and it's like Infinite's like a mixed bag for a lot of people, but I personally really enjoyed it.
Infinitely sucks.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty great. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, obviously we have different perspectives going into that game to begin with. We've played different games, experienced, you know, different genres before we both played that game for the first time anyway. So, you know, it's really cool to kind of get that perspective. My perspective obviously comes from the crusty old boomer side of things, where it's like, you know, again, I've already experienced these stories before. I've seen them done better, and I'm like, there's all this, like, I don't get what the big deal is about this game. But that game was a major blockbuster hit that got more people into that game to begin with, to get and kind of maybe explore that genre maybe a little more if they actually picked up on it being in at least somewhat of an immersive sim. Most people didn't. Most people try to treat it like a generic first-person shooter for the time, which it almost is. But yeah, no, you know, I respect it in that it kind of got a few more people interested in it, but I also hate it because it was also the death nail for that genre. In that, you know, the massively creative experimentation of storytelling and non-linear game design from those games basically went out the door with BioShock. The massive success of that game meant that we would never really get games like System Shock again. We eventually did. We would get them every now and then, but they would never perform well after Bioshock, because everyone just wanted Bioshock. I want Bioshock. I want Bioshock. What's this Deus Ex shit? What's this, Prey shit? Get this out of here. And it's killed the genre, which really sucks. And Bioshock is to blame for it. That was once a genre that was built on those merits and dramatically changed to fit the mainstream and never went back, and it killed that series, and it killed the genre. And that's another reason why I just really don't like that game too. So but it's interesting to look at that other perspective, and I see why you adore it so much, and I see why most people like it so much, and I have a lot of respect for that. And that's a perspective that honestly I wish I could have, because I want to like more games. I don't like not liking games. But unfortunately I was cursed with early 90s, well, not early 90s, but kind of more late 90s PC gaming stuff, and I kind of just killed my enjoyment of it.
Interesting. Yeah, disliking something based more so around like the cultural impact as opposed to like the actual like qualities of the game. Like it's I can't say I've had very many experiences like that. I tend to like set that aside more. Like, do you find that's like a common occurrence for you, Ethan? That like it's more so just like the impact it had rather than the actual game itself.
Well, I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind, but it's not everything. Again, as I said before, there's a lot of really good stuff in Bioshock. I think it has an amazing art direction. The gameplay feels pretty good, sometimes. The shooting does not feel very good. The full auto weapons are just pure anal sauce. It does not feel very good to play. But the plasmids feel great. And you know what? People complain about the hacking minigame, the Pipe Dreams-esque hacking minigame. I don't mind it. I think it's fun. I like the minigame.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. I have fun with that. I played a lot of Pipe Dreams 3D on the PlayStation 1 as a kid, so I was like, oh, cool, that's a minigame, essentially, in this first-person shooter? Awesome. So, yeah, no, there's things I certainly adore about it, and I always keep that in mind. But I actually have like structural narrative and gameplay problems with BioShock that a lot of people don't bring up. And then the icing on top of the cake is its cultural impact and what it meant for that series and the genre as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
On my like triple layered cake of my opinions on BioShock. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's interesting because I don't think I've really had too much of like an experience of like the cultural effects of video games as much, just because I mean, I did get into them. Like, go ahead.
I guess I don't know, like Mario and Sonic being like the big games of like the 90s. That kind of started the whole trend of like mascot platformers, and a lot of those games are kind of seeking to like replicate what's great about the Mario games. And I can't.
Bubsy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I always felt a bit more ambivalent to like games that are trying to kind of replicate the style of like Mario and Sonic. That's not to say I don't like them. I just I think I've yet to find one that gives me the same like level of charm factor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I see what you're saying.
Maybe that's like a reason like why I had like trouble getting to like Ratchet and Clank, for example. It's
possible.
Yeah, like the actual platforming of that game, like the gun stuff is really fun, I guess. But like the actual like platforming and like just jumping around, I don't find as satisfying as like when I'm doing it in a Mario game, for example. So like maybe that potentially shaped my opinion. So I guess there's an example there. Even if I was like more subconscious, I wasn't thinking about that. I was trying to play Ratchet and Clank, but I guess that's like perhaps a contributing factor. So it's interesting to think about it in that way.
Okay, I see.
Somebody's been quiet for quite a while now.
They have.
Yeah. Do you have a game that you think is really overrated, Elias?
Mirror's Edge.
Ooh.
Which is a game okay, here's the thing. I really like the first one. First one's fantastic. Second one, Catalyst, kinda sucks dookie. Not gonna lie. In like every regard. They basically ruined Faith's character, couldn't convolute the entire universe, make it the most pointless like fetch quest game of my entire life, and I played JRPGs. And you know, it's and it just plays bad. I don't know why people like it, but a lot of people said it was better, it improved everything. I'm like, no. Half the time I can't get anywhere I want to go. The flow of like movement is so destroyed, and I hate it. I hate Catalyst. It's like a 1 out of 10, which is
Damn.
yeah. There's my hot take of the day. I hate Catalyst.
Damn, boy.
I'll recommend the first Mirror's
boy.
Edge. not the
Damn,
second one.
boy, where'd you find this?
Apparently, I found it at EA in their
that's
trash pile. Oh.
Hell yeah. Base.
I don't know. Has anyone else played
base.
the Mirror's Edge games or no?
No, but I intend to some point
Okay,
soon. And
play
with
the
you
first
hating
one.
Catalyst so much, I really want to jump in.
Play the first one. First
two.
one's really good, yeah. And then just hate Catalyst. I don't think you're gonna like Catalyst.
I gotta get into it as soon as possible. Then the closest thing to Mirror's Edge I've played is Dying Light,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
Dying Light's
Mirror's
pretty
Edge,
good.
but
Dying Light's
with Dying Light is Mirror's Edge meets Dead Island, and it's certainly better than Dead Island. That's for certain, though that's not a very hard obstacle to achieve.
Mhm.
All right, Dead Island is poopy butt, but Dying Light, that's a fun game, and the sequel's coming out soon. And it's been in development hell, and the game director has been abusive to his staff and everything, so I'm not going to monetarily support it. I will buy a pre-owned copy, probably on console, because that's my protest on bad game studios. I'll buy their game, physically, pre-owned, so they don't see any money on it. Or, you know, I don't know, maybe 5-finger discount it at Walmart or something. I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, Catalyst, not a fun game.
Yeah.
I guess I hate
Poopy
when
ass EA.
you know, when just games try to add stuff just to add stuff, because it felt like that whole game was just a checklist of like, okay, cool, this needs to have this needs to have like cool side character missions, this needs to have that, you know. That's what that game really felt like. I think that's why I hated it, because the first Mirror's Edge really did feel like, hey, let's...
Its own thing.
Well, yeah, it felt like its own thing, and it felt like it was appreciating the sport of free running, which is, you know, a cool sport in its own, and they were trying to really, you know, express that that is a cool sport, and something that you can't normally go out there and do easily, right? So... But then the second one was just like, cool, let's just destroy everything we built, and then it just made me sad. It just made me sad. But yeah.
EA finds a way to ruin anything good they have in front of them, you know.
Yeah, because that was like the Star Wars Battlefront game, right? Kind of the same thing. The remake.
Well,
just because of all the pay-to-play, basically,
well,
stuff. At that
yeah,
point.
I mean, they had that. I was more thinking along the lines of Dead Space, something that was in-house made. Not, well, I mean, Battlefront certainly was, but Battlefront had a reputation before EA had anything to do with it. I'm meaning like EA starts something and they just inevitably destroy it. It's just a matter of how long it takes till they destroy it. Because they had Dead Space, baby's first System Shock meets Resident Evil 4, and that first Dead Space is pretty okay, and then Dead Space 2 was like really good. I'm like, that's a really good game, and then they just shit the bed with the third game, and they made terrible movies and books and a light gun spin-off on the Wii, and a mobile game tie-in for Dead Space 3 to give you rewards for crafting materials in Dead Space 3 that had microtransactions in it and everything. I'm like,
ouch.
EA, So I know your pain on something that you love getting destroyed by EA.
Yeah, it's not a fun experience.
I feel your pain.
So,
Man, yeah, that does suck.
yeah, but that's like my biggest, like, I'm pretty sure it's like the biggest, like, what's it called, hot take I have. The other one I was gonna bring up was Danganronpa, but no one here has. I mean, Ben played a little bit of it, but like, God.
Hey, you guys can talk about it.
I mean,
that
we
game
did
is
talk
so
about it before, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I remember. I
That
do
was
remember
so
ranting
bad.
about it. But yeah, I agree. It's like the biggest problem with that game, I think, is that a lot of people seem to love it, and they're like, "Oh, it's such great storytelling and stuff." And then you play it, and then it's just like it's trying so hard to be smart that it comes off as like just dumb. I don't know.
Amazing.
I mean, that's
So it sounds like a Kojima game.
no, because Kojima games
Really,
actually
at
have
least-
substance,
yeah.
whereas
And at least it's like interpretive. Yeah.
yeah.
This is like so on the nose that there's only one way to interpret it, and it's just like bad.
Oh, I guess that kind of reminds me, not to get on movies for too long, but that kind of reminds me of Darren Aronofsky's Mother, where it's basically just like a retelling
Of the Bible.
like the Old Testament.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
The whole movie is just so in your face about it. Like, do you get it? Do you get it? You know what's going on, right? You get it? You get it? This is Mother Earth, right? You understand, right? I'm like, oh my God, I get it, dude. I get it. You don't have to make it so plainly obvious. I'm going to freaking shit myself in the theater, like
Yep.
in pure fury.
So-
That is the yeah. So I know how you feel in that regard. So should I play Danganronpa then?
No, I was gonna say, imagine that, but in crappy anime like visual novel form. That you
That
feel
almost
you have
sounds-
story in, but you don't.
That almost sounds worth trying.
I mean, for a
me.
laugh, it might be fun. Like my friend, I was playing it with a friend because I spent 40 hours in that, and my friend and I were just analyzing
Ooh.
it the whole time.
Ow.
And we realized that like, hey, this is pretty funny to like take apart and just make fun of the whole time, because it's like a murder mystery type of thing, right? So you're trying to figure out how people died, and get the clues to solve the mystery, and then accuse someone of it and get them killed. It's great. Like the concept in itself is pretty great. If only there was actually a mystery to solve, and it wasn't like crappy. Oh, this happened because this man actually is an alien, and you should have known this from the beginning because he had an antenna sticking out of his pocket in one frame of a certain scene. And I'm like,
Oh my
yes,
God.
this is a thing? Cool. And then you go back and you look, you're like, oh, okay, I guess there was a small antenna. I thought it was a piece of like thread, but apparently that's an antenna. So yeah, that's that game in a nutshell.
Yeah. And it's like it does like a we were talking about this yesterday, I think. It does a twist, and then it's just like and then it gives you like 3 flashbacks to like stuff you've already
Oh my
seen.
god, the flashbacks.
And then it's just
Okay,
like,
that
well,
is one of
yeah,
my-
I know.
That is one of my biggest complaints about any like media. Flashbacks. I hate flashbacks. Flashbacks are the most annoying thing. It's the most like insulting thing to the person watching or playing a game, where it's like, yeah, do you remember this event that happened? Because if you don't, here you go. It's not like you're not paying attention to this game or this movie or whatever. And a lot of anime, especially shonen stuff, that's probably why I don't like shonen. It's just constant like, hey, do you remember that this happened 5 minutes ago? And I'm like, yes, of course I remember. I'm not
Yes, that's why you-
brain dead.
that's why you
and
read
in a vegetative
manga.
State.
Don't watch
yeah, I
anime,
can imagine the
read
manga would be
manga.
better. Yeah, I can imagine that's better. But yeah, Danganronpa, I think near the end of the game, like 80% of the dialogue that happens is flashbacks. And at one point during this one little middle arc, I kid you not, it gave me a line of dialogue, made a different line of dialogue, and then the next one was a flashback to that first line of dialogue, literally 2 lines ago. And I've never felt so insulted in my life. Yeah, anyway, I hate Danganronpa so much.
Yeah, sure sounds like
I
it.
wanted to like it because, I would consider myself a weeb, and I'm into that kind of culture, and I'm into that stuff. But man, that I cannot, and I feel bad because I remember I think Ben was talking to Josh Johan. Josh apparently loves that game, but Ben had brought up the similar opinion that I had, and it's like, oh crap.
Yeah,
We
because
don't wanna
I
like-
didn't even
Josh is a
I didn't
big
even
boy.
ask him like what he thought of it. I was just like, so yeah, I played
Yeah.
Danganronpa, and then I just tore into it, and then he was like, well, I thought it was a fantastic game, and I was like, sorry.
That happens a lot with me and Josh. It's just like, and it's something I really like, and he tears into it, and vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would never recommend that game to anybody at this point. It's just such a train wreck. I guess if you're like inebriated to a point of like blackout drunk, maybe I'd recommend it. But like, even then, it's kind of a hard sell. I don't think you want to remember the game. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, if I may, what separates Danganronpa from like other anime-esque games that you like?
Yes, yeah.
Like what's the big difference? Because it sounds very anime to me. So I'm like,
it is very
surprised.
anime. It's like a visual novel, like click adventure kind of a thing, I guess.
Right.
It also tries to be a on the rails shooter.
Yeah.
And
oh my god.
yeah.
Oh, it tries to be so much and so little at the same time.
Is that what you mainly
Finally.
don't like about it? Is that it does so many things and it's not particularly good at doing one thing?
I guess, but like, you know, then you have like Nier. Nier does, oh my goodness, Nier does that, and it works fantastically. But you know,
Because it has a sense of direction.
Exactly. I think what I don't like about Danganronpa is that the story literally doesn't make sense, and it's pulling things out of its butt like 90% of the time. And then, I know exactly what it is. The characters are not consistent. So what I expect from a character is that, hey, we're going to understand this character, see how they think, and be able to, you know, you can predict what a character is going to do because you know this character. And that's good character writing to me. And obviously people can change, right? But it's not going to be such a sudden change as like, oh yes, I'm the nice guy in the group, and now I'm just going to hate everybody. That's kind of what Danganronpa did. It just ruined all of its characters, changed them for no reason, and then was like, yeah, this is just reality now, accept it. And I think I hate that about that game. Whereas a lot of other visual novels really delve into like understanding a character, putting them in situations, and you should be able to understand how they would react. And maybe sometimes it's not quite exactly how you think it'd go, or you know, you should be able to understand your character. But no, Danganronpa just blasphemes all over everything and just goes, yeah, just go for it. I don't care. Because like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just bad. There's a few characters I did like that stayed consistent, but one of them, specifically Byakuya, he starts off, it's just like rich boy that is supposed to succeed in his life, and I think he was named the ultimate progeny was his like title. And so he comes off as kind of, you know, self-centered and everything, and at one point he physically tampers with evidence because he wants to see the fear in everyone's eyes and have fun, hopefully killing everybody. And I'm like, why? This makes no sense for his character. He has not been like this at all the entire game, and it only happens that one time, and then he goes back to normal. Like, it's such a disconnect from who he is as like a character that it's just why? Like, initially it was a cool like, all right, this is scary. I'm scared of Byakuya now. Okay, this is interesting. And then the second he goes back to normal, it's like, well, now what was the point of that scene? He's not changed. He's literally just been the same as he always was, but he just went crazy for 20 minutes in the middle of the night. So that's cool, you know? And then a few other characters just go through like, oh yes, I love this character, and then immediately betray them just because reasons. Not even good reasons. I don't know. Yeah, literally just reasons. I just felt like it. A lot of the game is, I just felt like it. That's why the characters did things.
Yeah,
which should not be a valid reason, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. Like, I can't speak to Danganronpa because I haven't played it, but being able to see like different sides of characters seems to be kind of a hot button topic. Like when a character like occasionally like it seems out of character for some period of time, that can be pretty decisive amongst like fans of the series. Like, to give you an example, the Metroid series, in Metroid Fusion, which is the fourth Metroid game, they added this new thing where whenever you ride an elevator, Samus kind of monologues to herself, and you kind of get a read on like what like she's currently thinking about, and you start to get a bit more of her personality. When that game first came out, people were very like negatively reacted to that new mechanic, because I guess what they really liked about Samus was that she was just like silent and just like this badass that like just like killed everything. People like, I guess there was something tantalizing about like a silent badass that was also a woman or something to like people of the 90s. And since I didn't grow up in that time, when I first played Metroid Fusion, I actually really dug that.
I was gonna say that sounds like a sick mechanic.
Yeah,
actually
I
opens up
like
the character
that.
a lot. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it showed a different side of her, and I was like, and it also kind of portrayed her as more of a contemplative person, and so I was surprised to find out that people were very like negative towards that. And it seems like in like later games they've kind of issued that, and any sort of personality that Samus has is just incredibly subtle. Like in one of the more recent ones, the remake of Metroid 2. Probably the biggest like personality you get from her is when you walk into a save. Like to save in that game, you go to like these little how would you describe it? Like just save spots. Like you like walk into like a looks like a little machine and the game saves or whatever. When you play that game, when you go into a save place, she does this like feminine little strut into the into the save spot. And just that one animation is like the only thing that you get from her character. So yeah, I found that kind of disappointing. Like why were people so negative towards that? I guess because it was different. Danganronpa isn't like that. It just sounds like within the same game, people are very like just like have a lot of different personalities.
Yeah, because if it was more like that, where it opened up each character and not explained, but like showed more of what they were thinking and as to why, instead of just doing because what they did instead was that the character does random thing, never explains himself, and then returns back to the normal state. It's like they go crazy for one scene and then return back to generic anime character number 6, you know? And that's just so disjointed and disorienting as you're reading this story, because now it's like, cool, everything is just a free-for-all of like random information that's just kind of happening to happen. So
in games that aren't Danganronpa, where it's like you really liked an aspect of a character and then maybe a later installment or something, like it just they did something that felt like very like that just distinctly didn't feel like them, and it kind of like ruins the character for you. Like, can any of you guys like think of something like that where it's like, oh, that kind of ruins the character, and like I wish they would go back?
I feel like I should have one, but I can't remember.
Oh, same here.
I mean, Ratchet & Clank 2016
that's a good
for
question.
me.
Yeah, I was thinking you'd bring that one up.
Yeah, but I mean, I've talked about that plenty.
I have an interesting answer. The fact that Lego characters have voices now.
Oh god,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a good one. I hate
that's
that.
a really good one. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Bull crap.
I hate that. I remember, so when my sister and I were growing up, we played a Lego Star Wars, the second one or whatever, like the one that has, the first one that has the three. Well, I can't count numbers. 4, 5, 6 has 4, 5, 6 in it.
Oh yeah, 4, 5, 6 is actually 2.
Is the 2?
though.
Okay, yes.
Yep.
So
I have both.
we
of
played
them.
we played that one. We 100%ed it. We loved those games, and there was no voice acting. And then I don't know where a couple, like I think last year, we decided, oh, well, let's play Lego games again. And we saw that there was the Lego Complete Edition for Star Wars, and also like Marvel superheroes or something like that. So we opened up the Marvel superheroes, and then to hear these B-list voice actors trying to do like imitations or impressions of the actual actors' voices was like the weirdest thing to have ever listened to. And we were just so like, what is going on? Don't give me dialogue.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah, it's the freaking worst, and that's one reason why I will still proclaim that the complete saga is still like the best like Lego game of all time. No voice acting. It's all the original 6 Star Wars films in there. Character creator. Yes.
Just
still the best
Lego.
one.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and even then, like, not to get too much on the Lego stuff, not to drag this out for too long, but one thing I freaking hate about modern Lego games now is they've radically changed the game direction for those. Those levels are now just way too big and have the weirdest, like, gimmicks to try and, like, switch up the gameplay to some extent. Like, I got the platinum trophy in the Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
100% completed that. There are cover shooter levels in that. Third-person cover shooter levels in a Lego game
That's weird.
with terrible B-list voice acting on top of it all. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I just want the old
Get outta
Lego
here.
games again.
Gonna go buy actual Legos.
Yeah, pretty much. I can do better
Yeah,
voice acting
pretty
than
much.
these guys can. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a good response though. Man, I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. What's the game?
How about games that like changed voice actors and got it really under your skin?
I have too many of those.
A lot of those.
Big Boss. Big Boss. Why? Why did they go with Kiefer Sutherland for that? Dude, what was wrong with David Hayter? They freaking replaced I can't remember his name, but what like the guy who like voiced Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3, they switched him out with Troy Baker. Troy Baker. Troy Baker. I'm like, oh my, are you kidding me? You have to be, this is,
I mean, Troy Baker's good.
yeah, those are my big ones. Well, I'll think of more in the meantime, but I needed to get that off my chest.
I think somebody was saying something.
I know. It was Ben saying something, or
Oh no, I was just saying that I thought Troy Baker was a good voice actor.
he is good, but not for that role. That's the thing.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah.
one game that I didn't absolutely hate, but like I just thought was overrated. I'm returning back to Ratchet and Clank again. Was Up Your Arsenal, because that seems to be a lot of people's favorite. But when I played it, it felt like rushed and really empty. And all the enemies were pretty much the same, and so it's just like there's not a lot of like difference to any of these enemies, and like they brought back some planets from the first game, but like only in like an arena shooter fashion, like not in like an exploratory like way. So it's just kind of like, okay, like I guess the story's cool, but like everything else, it just kind of felt like really empty and kind of like they rushed it. So it's just like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, Going Commando definitely had a lot more content for it. But yeah, so that's my hot take on that. Is a lot of PS2 Ratchet and Clank fans really enjoy Up Your Arsenal, and they say that's the best one. But I honestly thought it was meh. So yeah.
Brutal, man.
Brutal. Real quick on the character change up type of thing. Lara Croft, because they remade her twice in the new like remakes of it. They made her better, which is the reverse of what we asked for, I know. But I remember the original remake for Rise of the Tomb Raider. No, this Tomb Raider 2015, I think. 14 or 2015?
2013? The original that remake was in 2013.
I think it's the 2013 one. Yeah. That one, I hated her in that one because they made her like super weak and people were like, oh yes, women are strong. It's like she's already strong. You don't have to like do this. Don't do this. And then they did the remake for the Rise of the Tomb Raider, where that started the whole second series of remakes that I actually enjoy. And in that one, they just made her cool from the get-go. And then she just improved from there. So I was like, yes, this is Tomb Raider. Yes, please give me more. This is the Lara that I want. So that was actually an improvement. I can't think of the one that was like bad and got worse.
I mean, that could potentially be a hot take. One that like a newer version of a character that you actually prefer over the old version. Like a lot of people that are nostalgia blind would probably take issue with that. Yeah.
I like 2018 God of War Kratos
more than the old one.
More than old Kratos, and that angers a lot of people. But I love those original God of War games. I think they're mostly really good. Oh, that's another one. God of War 3 is overrated. God of War 3 is very overrated. Still a very good game, but it's also very overrated. It's not a freaking masterpiece by any stretch of the word, but it's good. But no, man, I like what they did with, Kratos' character in 2018 more than before. I mean, I guess his character fit really well. Like, those first, like, few games, like, oh yeah, no, it felt like a good story for that kind of character, but then they had all these spin-offs and everything, and they're, like, dragging the story out even more, and I'm like, this character doesn't really fit this kind of narrative, like, what the hell are we doing here? And then, you know, finally we get that reboot, and we get the soft reboot, kind of wiping the slate clean, kind of getting started again. I'm like, okay, like, we're at a good, like, baseline to keep going from here. Like, I like this Kratos. I want to see this Kratos more. I don't want, like, we're good to leave angry Kratos in the past. I think it's cool if we have those moments where we see the anger, like, break out and stuff, kind of like what we did in God of War 2018. We saw a few of those moments. That was some pretty badass moments, but keep it like that. Like, let's not make it the whole thing anymore. I'm good to move on. Let's make it a different thing now.
I actually don't have an experience with previous God of War games, so 2018 Kratos is the Kratos that I know.
Yeah, me too.
It's really worth playing some of those, though. Some of those are really good. At least, like, 1, 2, and 3. They're definitely worth, like, trying. And they're short games. You can play them on easy mode and just freaking, like, burn through everything. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to give them a shot. I mean, like, I can emulate them, so.
Emulation. I need to emulate.
Emulation's the best thing.
Yeah. You get Dolphin emulator work.
I was curious. I know most of you don't play FPSs, but for the two of you that kind of did, I know. The two of you that I know kind of do. Character team-based FPS games. What do you think about when they keep adding more characters to them? Do you like that?
Oh my hell! I hate it! I hate it! I hate it! I hate it! I hate it!
Okay, I'm not the only person.
Way too far.
Okay, because
Overwatch, Rainbow
Yep.
Six,
there's others, but I can't remember. Yeah, those are like the two big
others
ones.
too. Yeah.
Apex, I guess technically. Apex would also fall into that category.
Oh, it's getting there now.
It's starting to add a bunch more people. Yeah. I don't know. It feels like they just use it for money, obviously, so you can buy new characters, and then they also just don't care enough to fix the characters that they already have. You know.
Yeah, it shakes up the meta.
It just destroys the meta. It gets to the point where, like, you just don't use any of the original characters anymore, and it's just bad. Like,
in Super Smash Brothers, one that I have played, I've noticed that with, like, all the new characters that they're adding, they're a lot more gimmicky. Than,
because that's the only
characters.
thing you can do. If you start trying to add more mechanics, it just gets confusing. And then, you just have to start adding gimmicks, which just, I think, makes it bad.
Yeah, like the new character, the guy from Tekken, I can't remember the name of. I think his gimmick is that if the more he KOs characters, the stronger he gets, which sounds cool. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if like either that just isn't like it just doesn't have much impact on games at all, or it's too overpowered, just like one or the other, like it's not that balanced. So like it's gonna like take like maybe like a few months of like tweaking to like really get it to like a point where it actually makes sense. And and that seems to keep happening with like games like this, where it's like initially like there's problems with it, and then over the course of like a few months they have to like go in and like keep adding different like checks and balances so that everything is even. And at that point it's like are people even still like using the new character like at that point? Yeah,
it's just, I don't know, it's just a mess. I just don't like character based games.
Yeah, this is another like this is an issue that also happens in a lot of card games as well. Like not even just like IRL card games, but even games like Hearthstone and stuff like that. It's power creep. It's power creep and feature creep. It's just adding too much. You're instead of going back and just refining what you already have and keeping it there. These kind of games have shelf lives, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't like to admit, but multiplayer games have shelf lives, and especially ones that get, frequent updates and stuff like that. These games aren't going to last forever. They need to end at some point. And once you are really getting like into like 4 or 5 years in it, and you're keep on like adding new characters, new maps, new modes, you're constantly pumping the power of the game is just shunted around all over the place. It gets way too frustrating to deal with anymore, and people begin to drop off of it, and it's just not fun to play anymore. Now, of course, people still see financial success from a lot of these games and everything, but hell, if I really have any desire to play Rainbow Six Siege anymore, because
Same.
I played it at launch, and I've played what it is now and everything, and I hate it. It's so freaking out the door, like wacky ass.
Not to get like
in
all
so many places.
existentialist, but the whole question, because I just Nier gets makes essential. The whole question of if you replace enough parts of the original item that you have, is it even the original item anymore, right?
Yeah, the guy in the shop
yeah.
who says like he keeps his busted leg because that's the last thing that he thinks is him, and if he replaces it, is it really him
I feel like
anymore?
that's the problem that those games fall into, because you just start adding things, and it just the original game's gone.
That is a based assumption. That was awesome. Hell yeah. Big gamer brain time. Let's go.
Thank you, Nier.
Yeah,
That was sick.
that logical question is called the ship of Theseus, by the way.
Yeah. I can remember the name of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Based.
So
you guys are probably
yeah,
pro like there being like a mode that's like classic mode or something.
that'd be yes. That needs to be a selectable feature in every online experience, honestly.
Yes, there needs to be a way to play games
That
vanilla,
or people just need to
even-
not freaking add stuff to their games like that and just hope that it fixes it, because that's not how that works.
See, there was a reason why
Ooh,
people were demanding World of Warcraft Classic. There was a demand for a reason. I'm just gonna say that. Just say that much. That demand was there for a reason.
Another game that kind of does that like, I mean, I guess it kind of makes a little more sense, but still kind of like feels bloated after a while is Minecraft. Because like all this new stuff that they're adding, it just keeps like inflating it.
It's not as bad, but
Yeah, because I mean, like for a survival game, it makes sense to have like a little bit more stuff that you can do, but at the same time, it's just like it does start to feel bloated.
At least for me, I feel a lot of that stuff is avoidable in Minecraft. Because like I mainly just can play Minecraft by myself, and that's kind of my favorite way to play it. Sometimes it's fun to play with friends, but it's a very like mellow myself sort of situation, and I can avoid the like a lot of newer items and some newer mechanic. Of course, there's some things like of course you have to deal with, but it's not nearly as egregious for me. Now, if I was gonna be playing it online or something with friends or whatever, and I saw the paraglide wings and shields and stuff, I'm like, what is this? I just want stick and rock.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I mean, I also got into it at like really early on. Like I got into it in junior high, and like just seeing like all the stuff that they've added so far, it just doesn't quite feel like like Minecraft as much anymore. And which is okay, because you can still just go back and like play earlier versions.
I was gonna say that's the nice thing about Minecraft. At least you can always go back and play an older version of it.
You can literally go all the way back and play the alpha.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. When they added that, it was like, yes, this is Minecraft.
I guess what we're kind of getting at here, and I think this is something that we can all agree with, is that, when it comes to long-term games, live service games like these, it's beneficial and best if not only we I always like offline modes and stuff like that personally, but at least ways to play the game the way it was when it first came out of the box, quote unquote. Like there's a way to keep that old spirit of that game alive no matter how many changes it goes through. I think that's something that we can all agree on to have in games, right?
Exactly, yeah.
For sure.
Which now makes me want to flip the question on you guys. What about remakes of games, single player games and so forth? Say for instance, when we like the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, there's a whole new visual style, they've completely upped things in a lot of different ways, and it kind of changes gameplay in some regards. When it comes to games like that, should the original versions of those games be on the disc or be included with that purchase. So yeah, I can play the Insane Trilogy version of Crash Bandicoot 3, for instance, but I also have, on the same package, I have the original version of Crash Bandicoot 3 I can play as well if I don't want to play that one.
Yes, I would very much like that. I don't know if I would, with Crash Bandicoot, I don't know if I'd stick with the old graphics for very long. Because the newer ones, they update it in a way where it doesn't lose its clarity. And that's what's most important to me. If you're going to update a game's graphics to make it more detailed, the most important thing though is that you got to keep the clarity at least. Make it because that is one advantage that older games have over newer games, is that it's a lot easier to tell like where everything is, because it's just like simpler textures, and they tend to use like brighter colors like on the characters, so you don't like lose track of your character or whatever.
That's true.
So yeah, with Crash Bandicoot, like I don't care that much, because I think the new graphics do a good job of recreating at least the art style just in an updated way. Same with like the Spyro trilogy. Like I don't lose track of Spyro, you know, and it's very clear like where the enemies and where all the collectibles are. So, and because of that, I don't mind that much. But let's say like the Halo Anniversary remake, it's a lot easier to like lose track of like the enemies that you're shooting at with the newer graphics. So thank God that they keep the older graphics there so that you can switch back and forth. So as long as the updated graphics retain like the same I guess philosophy that the original like art style had, I don't mind that much. But if you're gonna really like revamp it and change it to the point where it's practically unrecognizable, then yeah, you better like have like the old graphics there in case people prefer that. And so that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there. I also just kind of feel in general that, you know, old, quote-unquote, old graphics modes should just be included with any remaster in general. I understand if there are certain limitations that prevent from being able to do that, but also at the same time, I also believe that being able to give those kind of preserves those games in a way, and even will kind of take original versions of those games and kind of devalue them in a lot of ways, which is good for everybody. I believe in cheap games for everybody. I believe in free games for everybody. Oh boy, I was on that last night.
Yes, you were.
Anyway, I was. So I personally feel that being able to include those older graphics and basically older versions of those games is that should be the industry standard.
Oh, yeah.
And I am disappointed that it is not. I will shout out, though, I still haven't played the game yet. I've had my copy for like 2 years now. I still haven't played it. But Medieval for the PlayStation 4, that remake of the old PlayStation 1 game, it actually has the original PlayStation 1 version of the game on the disc.
Oh, that's sick.
It is in the menu. You can play that version of the game and go from there. And I think that's fantastic. And that should be the standard, honestly. I feel it should be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was interesting discussion.
To add on to,
do you guys have any other?
any
other thoughts on this?
I do agree with Andrew completely on that. If it keeps the artistic integrity of it, right? Mm-hmm. But the other thing I would also say for that is if it improves or finishes the artistic intention of it as well. Because some games were too big for the time, right? Like they couldn't quite do the graphical things that they wanted to do to make it look how they wanted, right? So if it brings that to light and makes the game what it should have been originally, then I would also agree that that's a good time for a remaster. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother. I don't feel like. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, I think there needs to be a clear distinction between releasing like remasters and ports.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to see far more ports of games. I don't even think that. I think we should just be able to have, backwards compatibility.
Yes.
Yeah. Nintendo.
Sony, you assholes.
And Nintendo, too.
Why do I have to have every freaking PlayStation you have just to play all your games? I'll keep them nonetheless. I'd still keep them nonetheless, but the fact that I need to whip out my PS2 to play my PS2 games still freaking pisses me off. I can't put them in my PS4, my PS5, or even either of my PlayStation 3s because you only did backwards compatibility for one model.
Yeah.
Damn you all to hell.
Yeah, it's not my favorite either.
Oh yeah, and I have to keep my PS3 on hand and everything because I can't play my PS3 anywhere else either, so, you know.
Is there...
And you have the CMOS battery issues where, you know, as soon as that battery detonates and online services are done for the PlayStation 3, then all my digital games are completely unusable, and if I had any physical releases of these games, I'd have to put them in either hack my console or make sure I have the latest software versions of those downloaded to the console so that I could even play those games the way that they were meant to be played on that console. I hate you, Sony. I hate digital gaming.
Sony is the iPhone of consoles.
They are. They are. I agree with that.
God.
That's true.
Don't go too far on the side tangent. I hate the fact that iPhone took out the headphone jack. Dude, headphone jack is the most base thing in the entire world.
Freaking Android phones.
I know,
to do that
because
now
freaking
too.
iPhone did it first, and I hate iPhone. I hate Apple.
They always set terrible trends that everybody else follows, and I freaking
Just
hate
because
that.
they have
And that's what the
It's dumb.
That's what the game industry does too. Loot boxes and shit.
Yeah.
It's a terrible trend that starts, and everyone adopts it, and everything, and then it becomes the big freaking problem that it is.
Paid online.
Like, that's capitalism, baby. Let's go.
Throw
That
some
went off the
Communist
rails.
Manifesto.
Everything about me is off the rails. You should
At least
know this
lately,
by now.
yeah. Even more so than late.
I am very mentally exhausted and everything, and I think that's probably where it's all coming from. It's the fact that I'm just so perpetually tired and angry.
Angie.
Well, because we play video games.
Yeah, video games cause
because I live
violence,
in a
baby.
society, bro.
Yeah.
Because I live in a society, and video games are the only real escape I have at the moment.
Video games cause communism.
Okay. Okay.
Itch.io does.
Yes.
Disco Elysium did this to me. Postal 2 did this to me.
Oh my God.
Fallout New Vegas did this to me.
Ain't that a kick
Darkest
in the head?
Dungeon did this to me.
That again.
That is a kick in the head.
That's a good song.
Metal Gear did this to me in the long run, I'd say.
Nier has also contributed to this now.
Yeah, no, it has. I'm woke AF because of Nier right now.
Oh man, I'm playing Rocket League right now, by the way, and I just have to shout out Itachi. That's this guy that faked me, and he's like, "Dude, I'm glad I'm on your podcast," because I told him. He's like, "Man, you guys are sweating so hard." And I'm like, "No, I'm like not even paying attention to the game. I'm just playing. I'm just recording a podcast." He's like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not sweating whatsoever. I'm barely even trying, and I'm destroying you. So good job."
Flex.
That's what 3,000 hours in that game looks
yeah. Oh, don't remind me. I'm depressed.
like. That's.
I mean, I'm
that's
also
fine,
proud of
man.
that number, but I'm also depressed because I think I calculated that out, and it's like 20% of my life in the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
That's depressing, man. Anyway,
There's nothing wrong with having fun.
Exactly.
girls just want to have fun. Girls just want
girls just wanna have fun. Girls wanna have fun. All right. Does anyone else have intriguing
Based opinions.
little discussion topic? Based opinions, basically.
Should we just call this the
I'm probably
based
just gonna-
opinion episode?
That's what I was just gonna say. I was just gonna call this episode "Based Opinions" or something, and just make some completely random ass art for it about something we may have talked
Throw the
about.
Communist
Who knows?
Manifesto
Maybe
on
I'll
it.
just. Yeah, I'll have Karl Marx sniping the EA logo or something. I don't know.
That'd be some pretty good art. That'd be some pretty good art. I'm not gonna lie.
that would be interesting. I don't know if I want to do that though. But anyway, anything else? Any other epic gamer opinions in the chat?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's funny. The one where we complain is the one that I talk the most.
I know, and I love that. I love hearing more from you.
That was a good
I guess
four-way
I'm
discussion.
just a complainer, man. I just complain
Yes,
a lot.
it was.
We're getting
This is what I
better. We're
wanted.
getting better.
We're getting
at
better.
this.
We're
Yeah.
getting better. Yeah.
Not just me, just blathering
just,
forever.
you know.
We all get to talk. It's great. It's nice. We need more of this.
Just the Obama meme. We're getting better at this, guys. Oh my goodness, I'm hitting balls in the wrong areas. That was a great line.
Bazinger.
This thing is a ball on a run.
All right, I guess we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at balls.
You will leave it at balls. You can reach me or reach me. God, no, please don't talk to me. Yeah, I had a Facebook post go viral over this past week, and I'm just getting bothered by people left and right, like a gazillion friend requests and like thousands of shares and likes and comments of angry boomers and everything. My life has gone topsy-turvy because of the internet. Anyway, don't bother me on Facebook. I'll hate you for that. Find me on Twitter, where I have my most based epic opinions. Also, I'm on Instagram. I will sometimes write on Medium and CBR. I also am active on Letterboxd and Backlogged, both places for me to log movies and video games. All of those are located in a link tree in the description of the episode.
Epic.
Someone else plug they shit.
I guess I'll go.
I think you do the same thing from the beginning. You call someone else out to
Oh yeah, that's a good
post your
idea.
stuff.
Okay, fine, Andrew, do
Okay.
it.
My second book is coming out. It's called My Daddy Runs. It's a children's book. It's a baby book. It's currently doing its Indiegogo campaign. If you want to help that out, I should have prepared the URL ahead of time so I could plug it.
Make sure you just like private message me it or
Yeah.
something, and I can throw it in the description or something if you'd like.
Yeah, that was dumb. So yeah, I'm surprised. I actually wasn't thinking it was going to come out. I finished it like a year ago, but due to COVID, it had to be put on hold for quite a while. But the author emailed me and said that it's actually gone through now, so it's awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll send you the
Hell yeah.
I'll send you the link for that. And I don't know if you want to email me or like commission me. You can email me at andrewlangstonart@gmail.com. Ben, you go.
Okay. You can find me mainly on. I'm actually pretty silent on social media these days, but you can find me on Twitter at Thunderfellow. I essentially just shitpost. And then I'm also on Letterboxd and Backlog, but I haven't really been logging there as much lately. But every once in a while, something will pop up and you can see that, and it'll basically just be regurgitating my opinions from the podcast. So honestly, just listen to the podcast if you want to hear my opinion about stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And then I'm the last one. Currently on SoundCloud. We'll soon not be on SoundCloud, and we'll be everywhere. We'll see when that's done. And then should be a link for that, I guess. And I guess that's the only thing I really do, because I don't use Twitter for anything besides keeping up with VTubers. And then I don't use Facebook anymore because Facebook sucks. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it all sucks.
yeah, I just hate social media, so you can't find me anywhere. Sucks to be you guys. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, well that was epic. Am I right, fellow gamers?
You are so right.
Y'all
the most
have a
based
good
opinion.
rest of you. Yes, that
This
that
episode
was,
should just be called Based.
Yes, we've been over this,
Based.
man.
Yeah, we did.
No, just Based.
Anyway, bye.
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 Why?